The year is 2025, and today we're doing a tier list of every main Halo game. Hello everybody, you heard that right. Today we're doing a tier list based on each Halo game that's come out. I've always wanted to do this, and as a big multiplayer and campaign fan, I love them both, so I thought it would make for a fun video. The way I plan to do this is to rate the games based on their prime and how revolutionary they were for their time. For example, Halo Combat Evolved doesn't have Forge, but it did change the gaming landscape for consoles and FPS titles, / it was a big leap forward for the age. This also means I won't be judging Halo Infinite on the state it launched in, but the state it's in today. This goes for both campaign and multiplayer. With that said, this is my definitive Halo tier list in the year 2025, sponsored by Opera GX. Big thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. Opera GX is one of the most comprehensive browsers available in terms of features, allowing you to fully customize your internet browsing experience. What does Opera GX offer? Well, I'm glad you asked. Opera GX offers customizable wallpapers, background music, opening and closing tab noises, the ability to have your own custom font, icons, and even a splash screen. You know the opening image when you open the browser? That. Opera GX gives you the ability to make your browser look the way you've always wanted. Something I thought was very cool is that you can limit the RAM and memory usage, so if you are gaming, you can have better performance overall. You can even integrate Spotify, YouTube, and other music sources into the browser as apps. The best thing about being a Halo fan is that I can customize the entire browser to a Halo theme, which is fantastic. The ODST Halo mod is by far my favorite. Mods allow you to create custom tailored experiences for you in the browser to take your customization to the next level. Massive thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. Use my link below to download Opera GX today. So first up today, we're starting with Halo 3. Halo 3 is my favorite Halo game hands down, and it is one of the best video games of all time. The anticipation to this game releasing was massive. It may have been one of the biggest video game launches for its time. It was also during a period where midnight launches were a big thing. You'd be waiting outside the store at 12 AM to get the game before everyone else. There was no online digital install, physical disc only. To me, Halo 3 is the complete package. A finished product at launch, a stellar multiplayer, and a great campaign. The multiplayer of Halo 3 had soul and variety. Big team battle was so much fun. How all the physics would interact to this day has not been replicated. You had free-for-all, 2v2, 4v4, 8v8, and even multi-team. There's ranked versions of each playlist, and ranked even had 6v6 squad battle. The ranking system itself was great, a 1 to 50 system ranging from recruit all the way to 5-star general. To get 5-star general, you needed a rank 50, the highest rank in a ranked playlist, and 5,000 XP. You got 1 XP per win, and if you quit, you lost 1 XP. There was also double XP weekends. Halo Infinite hasn't done this surprisingly, but Halo 3 had one every weekend. I remember staying up all night with my friends. We'd play Speed Demons, the fast-moving zombies, and Griffball. We would order pizza and Mountain Dew. Very stereotypical. It was a great time. Halo 3 was the complete package. It even had all of the small details that raised it that extra level in my eyes. The theater system allowed friends to watch films together. You could share those films across Xbox Live in your file share. Campaign had split screen, 4-player split screen. The physics, as I said, were phenomenal. Custom games and Forge were groundbreaking for their time. And on the whole, the game looked beautiful. In pretty much every category, Halo 3 is a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. It is safe to say Halo 3 gets its spot in S tier. Next up is Halo 5 Guardians. Fun fact, when Halo 5 was being developed, all of the pre-release media didn't match the actual game. A lot of people wondered why that was. Well, I'm telling you today, there was a huge communication error, and a lot of 343 developers had no idea the marketing team were going in that direction. It was a huge blunder. It shouldn't have happened. Let's move on to the game. Halo 5 didn't have split screen. It had the most controversial campaign, to say the least, and Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer was very fun, albeit very sweaty. Halo 5 is one of the most hyper-ranked focused competitive games that has ever been released. Even fun playlists such as Action Sack, typically very fun-based modes, had ultra-strict skill-based matchmaking. With that said, Halo 5 did have some really good things in it. Halo 5 Forge was amazing for its time. Many forgers made amazing custom games that spawned thousands of hours of fun for the community. Warzone, the pay-to-win game mode, but you could dominate without spending money, was a cool third-style game mode to go alongside BTB, Big Team Battle, and 4v4 Arena. Halo 5's multiplayer had numerous rotational playlists, and those special weapons from the Warzone game mode made Halo 5 Fiesta awesome to play. Halo 5 had a great balance between forge maps and developer creations, and yes, Halo 5 was incredibly competitive, but to a certain group of players, it is their favorite Halo multiplayer. For me personally, Halo 5 was amazing for creative players like myself. I did so many cool things on that game, so Halo 5 multiplayer specifically has a very fond place in my heart. On the flip side of that, the campaign, not so much. I, to this day, have played the campaign once, was very underwhelmed, went back again for Legendary, and I was even less pleased, and then I did a few trick shots in it over the years. But look, I'll be honest, it is by far the worst Halo campaign. Expectations were not met for Halo 5's campaign. I wanted so much more, and honestly, Master Chief should have beaten Spartan Locke into the absolute ground. I don't care what anyone else says about this. It shouldn't have been close. To have him even keeping up with Chief never sat right with me. It also, I think, on a subconscious level, made him way less likable that he was hunting the character that many of us grew up with. When Buck says to Locke, they'll hate us, you know that, right? It kind of feels like how the players felt about Spartan Locke. For the campaign gameplay itself, I didn't like how often Warden Eternal was relied upon to be a boss. It got very repetitive and very old very quickly. I also didn't like Cortana turning evil. It was done terribly, and it really reduced the impact of her sacrifice and death during Halo 4's ending. All round, I don't have all that much good to say about Halo 5's campaign, so it makes rating the game as a whole very tricky. Halo 5 multiplayer is a 9 out of 10. Halo 5's campaign is a 1 out of 10. That gives it an overall mark of 10 out of 20, 50%, so I'm going to place it in C tier. More C minus, although the campaign itself is in F tier. Moving on from Halo 5, we have Halo Combat Evolved, my first Halo game, and the one I have by far the most nostalgia for. The game that started it all, Halo Combat Evolved defined a console generation and made FPS shooters much more easily accessible than they had ever been before. Halo Combat Evolved to this day has sold 6 million copies and was the first time the Master Chief, the Covenant, and the Flood were shown to audiences. For me, the first Halo game's main menu is my favorite. The multiplayer, even though it was made by 2 to 3 people, is amazing, especially for 2v2 and for 2001. The campaign is damn iconic. The only downside to Combat Evolved's campaign is the copy and pasted level segments in the second half of the game. I also find the Flood much less enjoyable to fight than the Covenant, but in saying that, the first Halo game did so much right. The atmosphere of every level was amazing. Less can be said for the Anniversary remake, but split screen was so fun for both campaign and multiplayer. I also have to include the fact that this game, Halo Combat Evolved, started so many LAN parties for our generation. So many people would take their Xboxes, their TVs, and go over to people's houses. They're lifelong memories, and I'll always love that. For me, the coolest thing about Halo Combat Evolved is the grenades. Those grenades in that game are nuclear bombs. They really allowed you to do so many cool things, from launching grenades across the map to doing simple fireworks. You could even chain grenades together to cover great distances. For a game created in 2001, it had so much depth, and I really found that special. It's also worth noting that the elites, the grunts, and the jackals are my favorite in this game. Close runner-up is Halo 2. Halo Combat Evolved, just like Halo 3, goes into S tier. Next on the list is 343 Industries' first attempt at a Halo game. That's right, it's Halo 4, featuring a brand new faction, the Prometheans, Cortana's death, and a multiplayer that looked to adopt traits from other franchises like Call of Duty. Halo 4 released to very mixed reviews, as fans who expected a Halo similar to that of the Bungie games were disappointed. Ironically, the population of Halo 4 launched incredibly strong. The first game by the company after Bungie gave up the franchise saw fans very excited for the next game. Unfortunately, just after launch, players realized this isn't what made Halo popular, and the population began to decline rapidly. This got even worse once Call of Duty Black Ops 2 released, as that game was considered incredible. The main reason for the large change in formula was 343 wanted to prove that this version of Halo could be equally as popular. Unfortunately, many fans said to this, if we wanted Call of Duty mechanics, we may as well play Call of Duty, and so they did. For me, I still enjoyed Halo 4's campaign and multiplayer, but I strongly hope the series never goes in that direction ever again. I didn't love it. I found the weapons despawning on the ground within 7 seconds very un-Halo. The multiplayer felt like an arcade version of Bungie's titles, almost like an Uncanny Valley style of game. It had similarities for sure, but it felt so different it felt disjointed. Personally, the change to many key mechanics that had been around for the last 10 to 12 years, such as being unzoomed while shot, the loadouts, and instant respawns felt gimmicky, and I really didn't like that players could spawn in with an anti-vehicle loadout, making them borderline redundant. You could spawn in with a plasma pistol, plasma grenades, and then they added a perk that even if you do blow up a vehicle, you survive and it has an ejector seat. It just didn't work for me. Halo 4's campaign, on the other hand, did have Cortana's sacrifice, but I really didn't enjoy fighting the Prometheans. Unlike the Covenant, they were bullet sponges, and they really weren't fun to verse. I also didn't like the art style of the Master Chief, I didn't like his new armor, and I didn't like the new rogue faction of the Covenant. It lacked that color we had seen in previous games, which was a shame. In saying that, I will say, bonus points for Cortana, it is the best she has ever looked. Overall, Halo 4 I'll put into C tier as well. Again, I enjoyed certain aspects, but I really wouldn't want the series to go that way again. This leaves us with 3 games to go: Halo Reach, Halo Infinite, and Halo 2. So let's go in that order. Halo Reach, Bungie's final Halo game. Their swan song, their send-off, their goodbye to Halo. Halo Reach's campaign differed in many key ways to the original book that was written, and the multiplayer made some very large changes in terms of the Halo formula. The multiplayer changes were so drastic and poorly received that a TU update, a title update, reverted many key changes, which included nerfing armor lock, reducing weapon bloom, and changing melee damage to have bleed through. The pre-patch melee damage didn't have bleed through. That would mean even if you melee'd someone on say 4% shields, it would only deal that 4% of damage, whereas in Halo 3, if you got someone to say half shields and melee'd them, it would grant you a kill. I've always said the trends that happened in Halo 4 started with Halo Reach. Another thing that really sucked, and I'm so glad on MCC it isn't a problem anymore, during Halo Reach's first run in 2010, there was numerous map packs that were released on the game. That DLC content for Reach, it died off very quickly. We're talking within a week each time a new update dropped, and the dedicated DLC playlists had a very small population, probably about 500 people at max peak time. Halo Reach to many Halo players back in 2010 marked the first decline in the series. Why? Well, ranked play was removed and replaced with the arena. It's actually a similar CSR based leveling system, ironically close to Halo Infinite. This was dead on arrival. They then added a competitive MLG playlist, and that wasn't even ranked, so people weren't happy with that. There was also the introduction of loadouts and key changes to the overall Halo formula that felt experimental. Bloom for me, I absolutely despise. Randomized bullets, which for me actually got worse playing on Australian ping, it sucked. The game in many ways became less fun once these random elements were introduced. What was worst, and what I didn't like at all, were the multiplayer maps. They focused on choke points and they didn't flow. The only maps that did flow well were the Forge creations and the big team battle maps. To this day, I absolutely love the map Boneyard. That is a fantastic map. But in saying that, the 4v4 maps, they just didn't flow. The best example is Sword Base. It ended up with players all camping in one room, and yeah, it's fun for a few times for sure, but it got annoying after the 100th time. The best thing about Halo Reach by far was Forge, and the awesome custom games that released. The introduction of the iconic grid object and the Forge custom games that were made during this era are still played today. I particularly loved the race game mode Tour de Forge, where you'd race all around the island in a massive Grand Prix. As always, Halo's biggest strength is its community, and even back in 2010 to 2012, all of the awesome Forge and custom games that were made were iconic. Moving on to the campaign, and I liked Halo Reach's campaign. I know some people have their reservations, but to tell a story like Halo Reach in one game, have it successfully fit the narrative, and have this somber atmosphere that even though you are individually successful, you are losing. It's quite the feat to pull off, and yes, Noble 6 is alive in a cave. Halo Reach I'll be placing in A tier, purely because the mechanics made the experience far less enjoyable for me, and the multiplayer maps weren't that fantastic. This brings me to Halo Infinite, and this one will probably be my most controversial pick. Halo Infinite I've actually spent more time on than any other Halo game, clocking in at about 7,000 hours on Steam as of me making this video. It's the game where I feel as though personally for me, it was designed for me, and the very content I uploaded when my channel gained popularity. When Halo Infinite was being developed, 343 Industries literally said during testing that they purposely left in bugs that could be used for Mint Blitz style shenanigans, so I could do some amazing things for you guys all to watch, and I really appreciated that. Halo Infinite's multiplayer, specifically the gameplay, I really enjoy. It's a shame the store ruins what could have been a flawless game. I'm glad they fixed the networking, which fixes desync. There's a ton of maps, albeit from the community, so again, shout out to the Halo Forgers. There is so much for me to do on this game, and to this day, I am still finding new, unique ideas. Most recently was the Ghost Pinch launch. I'll put an example on screen now. Halo Infinite has been through so many ups and downs. I've covered all of it, and if it wasn't for the Forge community, there would not be that wide variety of things to play today. What I'm trying to do is judge Halo Infinite on today, not the lead up of how bad it was to get to this point. Today on Halo Infinite, the ranked playlists are solid. The social playlists are there. The only real downside is the skill-based matchmaking, although it is fairer than Halo 5's. Love the addition of the grapple hook, although in campaign I feel like it breaks too much of the gameplay, and charges like a pickup would have been more balanced. I also really like the campaign weaponry. Knowing that there would have been a Warzone 2 and a got cancelled. These weapons probably would have been rec cards and they seem to fit. They add some cool variety. The gunplay on Halo Infinite is satisfying. It feels like a proper evolution of Halo 3's combat loop. In many ways, Halo Infinite did so much right. It's such a shame the engine under the hood is absolutely broken. If the engine actually worked, they could have made so many cool, amazing new pieces of content. The potential would have been limitless. It's a shame it was so broken. Halo Infinite's campaign, on the other hand, feels as though it was designed for me, which is amazing. The story, you could tell they ran out of time, probably due to the horrible engine issues. I did enjoy Halo Infinite's campaign far more than Halo 5 Guardians though. Overall, Halo Infinite surprisingly has turned into one of my favorite Halo games. It's purely because of the gameplay and the things it allows me to do. For a placement, it's hard to place. I was thinking B tier, but I'm going to place it in A tier. Let's move on to Halo 2. Halo 2, I left one of the best for last, as Halo 2 is my favorite Halo campaign, and the multiplayer side of Halo 2 revolutionized online gaming for its time. For me, Halo 2 and Halo 3 are interchangeable for the top spot, as I prefer Halo 3's multiplayer, but I enjoy Halo 2's campaign more. Halo 2's campaign has very memorable levels, and even with the final act of the campaign being cut and turned into Halo 3, I just adore Halo 2's campaign. The introduction of the Arbiter, one of my favorite characters, how the Covenant was fleshed out between the races, showing how they all interact, the Gravemind, the Flood, the war between three factions, all incredibly done. It is a truly wonderful game, more than just the gameplay, as it sets up so many main story elements and choices that are still being felt today. Halo 2's multiplayer, I should say Xbox Live, was culture defining for its time. The online matchmaking with friends, the rank playlist, a brand new dashboard and message system specifically for Halo 2. I can definitely see why Halo took over once it released, because it was revolutionary for its time. The only thing I didn't enjoy about Halo 2 multiplayer was the SMG starts. If you got a precision weapon, literally nobody could shoot at you, and that sucked. It would equal massive blowouts and you just couldn't do anything. I also wasn't the biggest fan of the multiplayer maps. Yes, Lockout, Sanctuary, Midship, all iconic, but there's some really disgustingly bad maps. I am looking at you, Backwash. In any case, Halo 2 has a special place in my heart. I still remember to the day I went to school, I was like 10 years old, and Mum went to the store to get me a copy of Halo 2. Everywhere was sold out, but Mum managed to find one copy left at Target, a Halo 2 limited edition copy, and I still have it to this day. Halo 2, easily S tier, one of the best video games ever made. And that does it for all the mainline Halo games. In case you are wondering about Halo Wars, ODST, and MCC, Halo MCC, S tier easily. The mods, having every game easily accessible, fantastic. Halo Wars 1 and 2, surprisingly, I've actually never played, so if you'd like me to do a video on that, let me know. And finally, Halo 3 ODST. I think it's around a B+. I always viewed it as Halo 3 DLC that Microsoft sold at full price when it was only supposed to be DLC. With that said, Halo 3 ODST music, iconic. I like the somber atmosphere being on your own. It is completely different from every other Halo game, and it's proof in the pudding that almost any style of Halo game will be successful. And that's it. That is my tier list for Halo titles, specifically the mainline ones. The biggest takeaway from this video and this list is that even the worst Halo game is still a great video game. Halo titles across the board are fun, and there's a reason why the franchise has had longevity approaching 25 years. Big thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring today's video. Let me know down in the comments where you'd rate each Halo game and why. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.